Young children have very sensitive spirits, and they're very impressionable. And if we do our jobs well as parents and we guide their behavior and try to mold them with gentleness into people, they will follow our lead.
One of the other concerns, of course, parents have is how to create a safe environment at home. How to have home be a place the child feels comfortable and safe. One of the most obvious things, of course, is that there shouldn't be verbal or physical or sexual abuse happening in the home. When you talk about verbal abuse, those are things like put-downs, negative expectations. You know, she's the troublemaker of the family. Or he's always getting into trouble. I don't expect any good out of him. He's just like his father. He's just like his grandpa. Those really are verbally abusive messages. And there's a lot of power in our expectations, and if parents expect the worst of their child, that's what they'll get. So those kind of verbal messages are very hurtful and make a non-safe situation for the child at home.
Wow, I like the way you draw. You draw real good, sugar baby. You always like to draw.
Well, this might be a challenge for you to read, huh? I bet you could do it, though. You're talented. You're smart. You're a good reader, son. I'm glad you brought these books home.
I suggest you bring it home. Yeah. It's broken, isn't it? What do you think we should do about it?
Tape it.
Tape it? That's a good idea, but I think for now it's not really safe to play with. Should we take it out of there?
Everything I say to my son, I got from my mom. If they get into anything that they're not supposed to, it's my fault because I should have put it up.
Oh!
And having a safe environment for a child to be able to explore and yet feel safe enough to know that, you know, they can learn and just go for it. Just have fun, because that's where they learn, when they're having fun.
Another way that we establish trust is to have things that we can count on, a routine. And for some families that involves a nap time. That it offers these parameters for behavior, these boundaries that kids need. Schedules, you know that you can count on having a meal. And in many homes, that isn't something that regularly happens. And that's something that we really need to work on as a group of people, that we need to have routine, because routine offers security to kids.
Okay, 5 more minutes to clean up, boys and girls.
And I tell them you can't play until homework is done. It's something that needs to be done, so they both jump right to it before they run out and play.
And then it's also very important that the parents stick with that.
Are you going to brush your teeth too, Joe?
Yes.
How about you, baby girl?
It's not an option. You have to brush it.
We need to brush your teeth before we go to bed.
Go in there and brush your teeth, please.
Joseph,
go in there with your brother and brush your teeth.
Now.
Go.
Do we have to do it for reals or not?
Yes, you have to brush it for real.
If we can, as parents, stick to what it is that we tell them, then we can dispel a lot of misbehavior.
I know. You got confused, huh?
No. Let's leave the TV up for a while.
And they need to have some warning when things are not going to follow the routine.
When things are different, it's hard, isn't it?
Can you get this off?
There, I think we're all done. We're all done. We're all untangled. There. Now you can go play. You do? Yeah. Carissa, now are you feeling better now? You got a little bit scared, didn't you?
It's It's very important for us as parents to reflect on the reasons behind a child's behavior.
I'm sure we've all sat with and watched people in restaurants where the kids are just hungry and they're not going to wait, you know, they really need some food right now. Even just asking the waitress for crackers. I mean, there's a lot of little things that can prevent a big to-do.
Hi, could we get some crayons for her to color with? Sure. Thank you.
We should do it.
The child may have a little pack or backpack of things that they know they get to bring when they go places, so that they're prepared to have something to do that's fun for the child, distracts their attention, and prevents a lot of fussing.
Now, Eva, we need to get ready for church tonight, so you need to go pack up your backpack and get it ready to go. We'll get your books and your crayons that you always take for church. And you're going to take this writing tablet to write on too?
It helps for children, of course, to have regular bedtimes, to be able to get enough sleep, and to have some downtime or nap time. It helps adults too.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Gotta take a nap. Every day we take naps. Lay down now.
So if there's some way to avoid disrupting a sleep cycle and let the child get the rest when they need it, it just avoids a lot of unnecessary problems.
This story is how Raven tricked Deer. Well, Raven, everything makes Raven hungry. But he goes down to the beach. You see, Raven was walking along the beach to see what he can find to eat. And as he was walking along the beach, he saw all this deer, all kinds of deer along the beach. And as he was looking out at all these deer, he saw a big buck, really big deer. And as he was looking at that big buck, his mouth started to water. Oh, he was so hungry. And he decided that, oh, that's the one I want to get, because I'm so hungry. And so Raven was thinking, how am I going to get that deer? So he came up with an idea. He took a canoe and he started to paddle along the shore. And as he was paddling along the shore, he was yelling out, "Who wants to come along with me? Who wants to come with me and help me out?"
It's just as equally important that children be allowed to be involved in just being helpful to other people. It's an opportunity for them to see themselves as caring individuals.
We have a chores list posted, and what's good about it is that they get to use their communication and negotiation skills with the other kids. You can say things like, "David, if you do mine, I'll do yours, on another day." So that's kind of nice that they can understand that between themselves they can work out a deal.
One of the things that parents of preschoolers oftentimes find very challenging is kids want to make their own decisions. It's what we call they're struggling with autonomy. Autonomy is you're deciding for yourself what you're going to wear today, what you're going to eat.
Yeah. I know you want to stay here, but we really have to go now, okay? So I need you to put your coat on. Do you want to put on your coat first, or do you want to put on your boots first? We really do have to go.
We offer choices, we offer limits, but we let them decide for themselves. And it's very stressful for some caretakers when they see a mess potentially happening. And that's when we have to allow the kid to test their limits.
And when an accident does happen, that we provide them with, whatever they're going to need to clean it up for themselves. Give them the sponge or let them get the sponge themselves. And then they can understand that if I do make a mistake or if I do spill, I can clean it up myself. And it's okay if I make a mistake. It's a part of the learning process. We all go through that. you know, where we make mistakes as we're learning.
All these animals approach Raven. They want to go with Raven and help him and go along with him on his journey. And then that big old buck comes down. And he goes, Raven, can I go with you? And Raven goes, you're just the one I was looking for. You're the one who can go with me and help me on my journey. And Raven called this big buck by his name, Ahwali, which means the fella who never gets mad. So Raven goes, Ahwali, come on, we're gonna go. You're the guy I was looking for. But Ahwali was so excited. He was jumping up and down, and he was so proud that he can be part, and he can go on this adventure with such a smart guy. And every word that Raven said, Ahwali was listening to it. And so they start to go. And Raven goes, I want to take you to a place where my uncle is making a beautiful canoe. And I want to be able to show you this beautiful canoe. So Ahwali gets all excited. And who is Ahwali again? The deer, the big buck, you're right. And he's all excited. They're going, okay, good. He's going to show me his uncle's canoe.
Native people want to raise healthy, happy children. And above all, we want to raise children that are emotionally sound and have those healthy perspectives.
It's always the uncles were doing it for the teachers. Parents weren't the teachers like today, you know. Mothers weren't and fathers weren't allowed to teach the children. The uncles were, because they're going to baby the children, because that's what mother and father does. You know? But not the uncle, hey, I don't want none of that no more.
And the child was not embarrassed. They were just spoken to, straightforward. And the language used was adult language. There was no child talk, but they were very, very tender and dignified in taking care of disciplinary problems.
I listened to my mother, and my mother always spoke in a real quiet, gentle voice. She never yelled. And today I catch myself shouting where I shouldn't be shouting.
Remember, Destiny, couches are for sitting on, please. Remember, sit down, please. This is what we do on the couch, is we sit down. You need to sit down, Destiny, okay? That's right. That's safer that way. We don't stand on the furniture. We sit on the furniture.
When the children misuse space or the materials, we correct them in a positive way. We use phrases like markers or for paper, or we walk when we're inside. I like to allow children to decide to use materials properly and try to give them more information.
Oh, Chatham, you don't draw there. You know where to draw. Over on your board or on paper.
Here's a young man, now he's 30 years old, and he was brought up in Tlingit culture. And his uncle would say, my nephew will now give his first speech at the Tlingit ceremonial, and he would apologetically say to the audience, if my nephew in any way whatsoever would speak anything amiss, you will forgive him and I will take the blame. And so he let his nephew speak, and without question, the nephew always did well, because his uncle, the master teacher, made sure before his nephew would utter any words in public that he was well trained. I like that because it indicates the discipline that the uncle had over his nephew. It was a kindly discipline, it was a loving discipline, but it was a firm discipline.
We had to come home at a certain time, not to play around after school, so we won't get hurt, you know. So we all knew what time that we were supposed to go directly home. And then they had a radius. My dad walked us, even as a little child, how far away from the house we can play, and not to go beyond that. And just so my dad would know where we are.
With us, it was, you know, you're going to be home at a certain time, and you'd better be on time. And if you're going to be out, parents had to know where we were going to be and what we were going to be doing.
There may be, of course, two parents, and there also may be extended family who are choosing to take a parenting role, and often are asked to. For example, maybe the grandmother is asked to do some caretaking when the mom's working or the dad's working. So you may have several different parenting styles to deal with, and they may not always agree. So what to do?
It was bothering me, so I wanted to talk to you a bit about it.
The trick is to do it in a way that doesn't undermine the other person.
I know they have the reading things on computer, and I know he likes the computer really well.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to really discipline him on it as far as making sure he plays the computer in the reading part, not in all the other ones he likes. That way, otherwise he can't play it.
Yeah. What would be something that both people would feel comfortable with as a reasonable consequence?
I think if we cut him off on that computer for a while, take that privilege away from him, because until he can prove to the both of us.
That's not always easy, but it gets really messy to try to get into big disagreements about parenting in front of the child and argue about the discipline in front of the child.
I learned that if you deal with the behavior in a healthy communications level, that you're not enforcing things like, what would be the other alternatives, which would be like spanking or things like that, because if they didn't listen, what is the other alternative? Spank them harder? And if the message still isn't getting across, what are you really teaching then? You're not really teaching anything other than pain, which is not what it is I'm trying to get across. I'm trying to get across, let's deal with the behavior.
I don't think it was traditional to hit children or to spank children or to make children feel bad about who they are. In the old ways, grandparents and parents looked up to their children. These were their precious things, and the Creator only gave us these children for a short amount of time, and we have that time to be able to give them the best of what we have.
Never at any time as a child did I see fathers and mothers mishandle children. By that I mean spanking or in any way abusing them physically. But I heard this when a child was disobedient. They would say in Tlingit, after this, you will not make this mistake again. And the child, of course, was expected to say yes, and they said yes. The answer would be, I will never make this mistake again. And so the child was, even in their moment of error, they were respected as children.
I believe in positive discipline, redirecting a child, okay, pull away from the situation, maybe we can play something else.
When children are fighting or aggressive, I see simply as them trying to express themselves, express their needs.
Lalani, Emma didn't know that you were playing with that block. Can you tell her you're sorry, Emma? Can you tell Lalani you're sorry? Okay.
Obviously, we want children to be able to express their feelings through words, and we want children to be able to solve their conflicts by talking.
I had it.
What's going on?
I had the
You had the snake first? What's happening, Matthew? Did you want to have a turn with the snake? What words can you say?
There are situations where we become angry. And what the important part is what do you do with the anger? Everyone experiences anger, but how do we express our anger in a way that's healthy? And I think books are really a wonderful way to explain feelings to kids.
Harsh punishment really has so many negative effects. If you spank a child, then they learn that it's okay to hit. And you know, we want to model for children positive ways of dealing with their emotions. I think that there are a lot of studies now that if a child watches Power Rangers, for instance, or Ninja Turtles or something like that, that they will go out and try and act that out, because it is natural for children to try and relate it to themselves in some way. The other thing that those kind of shows do are just give children this message that you resolve your conflicts through fighting, which we really don't want to do.
Things that I would recommend to a single parent who's struggling with that issue is pick and choose the shows that your child watches carefully and view it with them if you can.
Really extend that to make it a positive learning experience. Help them to relate it to themselves. And just making sure that, you know, we're not sitting our children down in front of the TV and going to do other things.
Turn the TV off. We're going to go for a walk.
You can turn it off?
Thank you.
Yeah, no.
I was always taught by my parents never to speak, never say anything to an elder that will hurt him.
There was a lot of things they told us, like we had to always respect our elders. And I remember when we went anywhere, you know, if there was an elder walking ahead of us, we never went past the person. We never ran ahead. And we would have to just walk, even if we were in a hurry.
There's a lot of moves that I do, I don't know where that comes from. The one thing that I learned is before I go out is I ask my ancestors for help. And I just do it in my head silently before I go into a performance. And I ask for help, not for me, but so that I don't embarrass my ancestors.
One little boy said, "My dad told me that you're his auntie and I have to have respect for you," you know, and they're talking about it at home. And so I think once that is implanted, you know, they will start thinking about what respect means.
Be careful about your face. My dad would tell us the reason why they say have respect for yourself or your family. If you do anything wrong, it's like a big gash on your face.
Oh, I am so honored to be able to go with such a smart character like Raven. Oh boy, wait till I tell everyone else. And so they go walking along and they come to a big ravine. And it goes down and it's all rocky at the bottom. And there's even a river at the bottom of this ravine and it goes up on the other side. And Akwali goes, "How are we going to get across this?" And Raven goes, "Oh, I will fix it so that we can get across this ravine." And so Raven grabs all kinds of celery and all kinds of plants, and he makes a bridge all the way across the ravine. And as he makes this bridge, Raven goes, okay, now we're going to walk across this. And so Raven starts to walk across this bridge that he made. But since Raven can already fly, and Raven is really light, so Deer starts to walk across this bridge. But Deer is too heavy, and the bridge breaks, and Deer falls on the rocks below to his death. Oh, Ishan Deer. Oh, Ishan Deer. But Raven was happy, because he flew down there and he flew around and he goes, oh, now I can eat. Oh, I was so hungry. Oh, and he goes down there and he starts eating deer. And so Raven tricked Deer. So you got to be careful of what other people tell you. So be careful of how you choose your friends sometimes.
No matter how great a parent we are, we're always going to have situations that challenge us. And so it means reading about it, taking a parenting class, talking with other parents. What would you do if Susie did this and I'm not sure what I should do about it? But I think that that's the way that we become stronger as parents, is creating that support network of getting more information. And that's a very important thing to do early on.
My thought about this, leaving a part in words for the young parents, is that right now, because we have lost our culture, I think they're the ones that should take the role of the uncle. In every way in our culture, we have to learn to be strong. We have to learn to be stern with our children. Without discipline, there's nothing. And discipline is something that we should use in order to create something strong.
Don't let anyone talk you into anything that's not going to be good for you. Don't let anyone say, come on, we're going to have some fun. Come on, go with us, we're going to have some fun. You might get into trouble. Look what happened to the deer.
Guiding and disciplining children can be a very difficult thing to do. But above all, what we need to do is respect them as young people, that they have a spirit within them. And if we treat that spirit well, and we love them and care for them and guide them in the way we want to be loved and cared for, then we're going to create children who grow up to be human beings that have the capacity to love and to care for others.